Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're literally deconstructing the English language down to its absolute bare bones. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed by complex syntax or crazy grammar rules, I want you to take a deep breath and completely drop those fears right now. We're not debating endless exceptions today. Instead, we're going to look at the elegant, logical architecture that makes this language work, starting from the very, very bottom. We are diving into a fascinating deconstruction of how we actually communicate. Think about this for a second. What if learning English was just about mastering 26 sounds? That's it. I want you to adopt a kind of kindergarten mindset here. If we strip away all the advanced vocabulary and those complicated rules of grammar, we're left with this beautifully simple foundation. Let's start from absolute scratch. Let's look at language merely as raw audio, just a series of deliberate noises engineered to transfer an idea from one human brain directly into another.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. First, we're starting from zero. Then we'll look at the 26 sounds, followed by the power of vowels. After that, we'll see why words must have meaning, and finally, building meaningful sentences. As you'll see, we are going to logically and predictably break down the language into totally bite-sized pieces. Part 1. Starting from zero. Language is just sound. Because at its absolute core, whether we're talking about English, Spanish, Russian, or Chinese, every single language in the world is simply a collection of sounds produced by our mouths traveling through the air. Seriously, if you strip away the meaning for a moment and just listen to a language you don't speak, you realize it's just a rhythmic stream of noise. Before it becomes a classic novel or a legal contract, language is literally just physics, vibrations in the air. And out of all the incredible, diverse noises a human vocal tract can produce, the English language only recognizes exactly 26 distinct foundational sounds. That is the entire inventory, guys. We call these foundational sounds letters. Every massive encyclopedia, every blockbuster film script, every profound speech ever delivered in English is constructed entirely from just these 26 basic auditory building blocks.
Now, these 26 basic sounds don't just exist in isolation, they interact. Think of them almost like chemicals reacting in a lab to create something entirely new. For example, the letter C has its own distinct sound, right? And the letter H has its own distinct sound, but if you bond them together, they create a completely new sound, ch. The exact same structural reaction happens when you bond S and H to create sh, or T and H to make th. It's a highly logical, predictable combination that seamlessly expands our auditory toolbox without us needing to invent any brand new letters. Section 2. The power of vowels, the throat sounds. Among those 26 sounds we just talked about, there is a very special VIP group. Yep, a VIP group of exactly 5 letters, A, E, I, O, and U. If the alphabet were a skyscraper, these 5 letters would be the load-bearing steel beams holding the entire structure up. They are the ultimate building blocks, totally required to construct almost every single valid word in the English language. What brilliantly illustrates the uniqueness of vowels is actually purely physiological. Try this right now, wherever you are. Say the vowels out loud. A, E, I, O, U. Notice what happens in your mouth. Well, nothing. Your lips didn't touch and your tongue didn't have to strike the roof of your mouth. The sound originated directly from your throat, completely unobstructed. Now, on the flip side, try saying B, P, or M. See? Your lips are forced to touch. The vowels are unique because they are pure, uninterrupted throat sounds. They act as this acoustic glue that binds the sharp, percussive consonants together. Without them, you literally couldn't sustain a sound. Moving on to part 3, words must have meaning. The secret sauce. Now that we have our letters, simply grouping these sounds together isn't enough to actually make English happen. For instance, take the sequence P, T, R, N. Okay, it's a sequence of letters, sure, but it conjures absolutely no image in your mind. It communicates nothing. It is pure gibberish. But string together B, A, T, and instantly a distinct concept loads into your brain. Maybe a wooden stick hitting a baseball or a winged mammal flying through a dark cave. The secret ingredient that transforms random acoustic sounds into a functional piece of language is meaning. A random group of letters is nothing without that secret sauce of sense. Which brings us to a remarkably elegant definition. A word is simply a group of letters combined together that produces a clear, recognizable meaning or sense. If there's no sense, there's no word. It really doesn't matter how many letters you string together into a sequence. Without meaning, it's fundamentally useless. Meaning is the absolute currency of language. Yet within this system, there's a pretty brilliant efficiency. While a word is typically defined as a group of letters, there's a quirky, memorable anomaly here. Sometimes a single character is so structurally robust that it conveys complete meaning entirely on its own. Think about I am here or I have a pen. Just one single letter standing all alone, carrying the full conceptual weight and power of an entire word because it contains meaning on its own. It's an anomaly, sure, but a highly efficient piece of linguistic engineering.
Section 4. Building meaningful sentences, the final frontier. Let's move on and see how this builds, transitioning from grouping letters to grouping words.
Once again, sense is king. Take the phrase, man, you, English, are. Okay, those are all valid, meaningful words grouped together, but they transfer no clear thought. The data is scrambled. So, just like with letters, if you group words together but the meaning is scrambled, you have not created a sentence. Compare that to, he is Rajesh. 3 words, perfectly grouped for instant, undeniable clarity. A highly specific thought is communicated. Notice how perfectly this mirrors what we established earlier. A sentence is a group of words combined together that conveys a complete, logical, and meaningful thought. A word is meaningful letters. A sentence is meaningful words. The rule of sense applies universally. The underlying logic of English is flawlessly consistent. The exact same mechanism that scales sounds into words is used to scale words into complex thoughts. This is where the sheer scale of language opens up. Master the sentence and you have unlocked the entire English language. Every massive, thousands of pages long novel, every daily newspaper, every world-changing global speech, they are all, at their core, simply just chains of properly constructed sentences. The sentence is the ultimate engine of communication. When you command the sentence, you possess the blueprint for limitless expression. Looking at this ultimate progression, the architecture is so clear. We start with 26 foundational sounds. We group those sounds deliberately to create meaningful words. We organize those words to form clear, meaningful sentences. And finally, stack those sentences together, and you have an entire, infinitely complex language. See how beautifully logical and unintimidating the English language truly is when stacked properly? There's no magic trick to it. It's just building blocks, assembled logically and intentionally with profound purpose. Which leaves us with this final, encouraging thought. If English is truly just a logical, predictable sequence of meaningful sounds perfectly stacked on top of each other, what's stopping you from building your first perfect sentence today? The architecture of the language is right there, completely yours to command. I hope this gives you a fresh perspective and makes you eager to practice your new foundational understanding. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.